I saw one time with his temper, pretty much one time at a restaurant, and he got mad at something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was just rage, basically. And a lady had witnessed it from another table, and I had gone outside. I was crying because of the way he was acting.
Oh, okay.
And she came up to me and said, I don't know you, but, you should not be with this man. And
Wow.
that was probably God warning me, but that was the only time I saw his temper.
Welcome to the That's Where I'm At podcast. I'm Laura, happily divorced after spending years with a narcissist. I believe keeping secrets will make you sick and that they always come to light in the end. As women, we're often told to be quiet, don't share your story, don't talk about the things we go through. It's making women sick, sad, and suicidal. We don't have to be on the other side to share our story. This show is for the women still in the middle of the mess, but showing up bravely as they heal. It's time to share these stories with each other so we can learn, grow, and heal together. I'm Laura, and that's where I'm at.
Hey, it's Laura. If while you're listening today, something hits a little too close to home, if you find yourself thinking, how does she know exactly what I've been through? It's because I've lived it too. I want to remind you that I offer one-on-one coaching for women who are ready to stop questioning their worth, heal from the mind games, and start reclaiming a life they actually want to wake up to. Check the link in the show notes to book a call today. Now here's the episode.
Please take note that this episode may contain subjects that may be triggering to certain listeners. Please take care when listening today.
Hi, guys, and welcome to the That's Where I'm At podcast. Today I have Beth. Beth is an international speaker, author of 30 books, and a podcaster. Beth helps women to step out of fear into faith by sharing her story and the freedom we have in Jesus. Beth believes we should dream big because we serve a big God. She is the wife of Fire Chief Ray and the mom of 3 beautiful daughters and 2 adorable cats. Welcome, Beth. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I love cats. My cat's in every episode, so she's right there. She's in every episode. So I'm so glad you're here to talk about, your life and things that you're doing and how you're helping women. So how did you get started helping women to step out of fear into faith?
It stems from my own life experiences, things I went through in childhood, and I just have a passion for women to dream big and be all that God created them to be. I just have a heart for hurting women, and I think so many of us live way beneath our potential. And so we need to fulfill our purpose and just go for it.
Well, and that's not always easy, is it? When we've grown up,
it's not.
In different circumstances, maybe we don't. I just find that there seems to be, and I know I was in this place, that self-esteem and all that, right? It's a struggle. I know that I went through that for a lot of years, and in some cases I still struggle with that. But I think for the most part, have been working on that. That's like the biggest thing, isn't it? Working on that self-esteem and knowing you can do more than maybe you're doing now.
Yeah, I think so many women lack that confidence. And some of it does come from social media, that comparison with other women. And we just need to be who God created us to be, to have our unique purpose and walk in our unique shoes. And I share about that in my speaking and writing, the glass slippers.
Oh my gosh. So okay. Tell me a little bit more about that.
My favorite children's story has always been Cinderella. And so Cinderella wore those glass slippers, unique glass slippers, and only her foot could fit it when the prince came to put it and try it on her shoe. And I believe we all have a unique purpose and that we need to do that. We don't need to compare ourselves with anyone else. So that's my favorite children's story. I speak about it. I write about it. I wrote 3 books about it, and I just love it. Some ladies don't relate to Cinderella at all. But I do. I relate to her story with the abuse. And I also think it's a great picture for us going for our big dreams.
Right. Yes, that's for sure. So tell me why that really resonated with you, that story of Cinderella.
Cinderella's mother died when she was younger, and then her father married a wicked stepmother. And so I related a lot to the abuse from the wicked stepmother, the wicked stepsisters. I was sexually and physically abused in childhood, verbally. And so I related to that a lot. I just wanted to get out of my house as fast as possible when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And so it really resonates with me. And the other thing that resonates for me about it is she had this dream in her heart. And what's so amazing about the story is she just wanted to go to the ball to dance with the prince. Right. And she wound up marrying him, which was so much bigger than she even imagined. And I believe that's for us too, that, not only can our big dream come true, but our impossible dreams can come true.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that took you a long time to get there, having been the abuse you endured. So you said you wanted to get out as fast as possible when you were a teenager. So we all feel that way, but tell me what happened with you.
Sexual and physical abuse from the time I was a small child until I left home, and verbal abuse also. So it was not a happy, good childhood. It was very traumatic for me. Yeah. And so what I did was I married my high school boyfriend, and while I was still in high school, just to get out of the house, and because I thought I was in love.
Right.
That puppy love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's possible you were in love. I mean, they often say, it's very innocent, or maybe not innocent.
Yes.
But we don't have a ton of baggage at that time, right? I mean, yes, the abuse is that baggage, but we don't have all that stuff. I don't know. They described it before. I heard it described about that first love is really, a true love. I can totally relate. I remember being in love when I was 16. I totally remember. And I think back and I'm like, I bet I was in love with him. Yeah, I think I was. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it surely was that way for sure. Okay, so you got married at 17. My goodness. So did your parents were okay with that, or was it legal in your state, or what?
No, it was not. It was not legal. My parents were not at all okay.
Oh.
My father did not like him. And so actually what happened is I winded up running away for like a day or two with him, and then basically used it over my parents' head. And they said, you have to get married because you don't do that in the South. You don't live together. So my father did have to give me permission to marry. Okay. And they knew it wouldn't last. They knew we were too young, too immature, and they were right. But what do? You're 16, 17 in love. So they let me. They went ahead and signed the papers and gave me a wedding and a wedding shower, helped me pick out china, all that stuff.
Wow. And I could totally understand how if your household is so chaotic and abusive that you're like, I just want to get out. And so how long did that last?
It only lasted a couple of years. I can't say the marriage was a mistake, because out of that marriage came my beautiful, precious daughter, Heather. Yeah. So I got pregnant with her pretty soon after I got married, while I was still in high school. And so the marriage only lasted a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so then tell me about that. So that only lasted a couple of years. And then where were you after that? What happened after that?
What ended up happening is he got a job truck driving in California. And so he moved out to California. He had a family out there. And he took himself, the dog, and my Volkswagen Beetle that I learned to drive on to California. And then I joined him later, and I had Heather by that time. And so we moved out there to California for a while, and then we separated while in California, and I moved back home and with my dad when we were divorcing and separated.
Yeah. And was there any particular reason why you were divorcing, or you both were like, was he the same age? Was he around the same age?
He was a little older, a year or two, but we were just fighting all the time. Yeah. He was not paying the bills. It was just pretty, it was just, we were too young. We were too immature. We didn't know what marriage was.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Right. I mean, we don't even have a full brain at that time. So we don't know. We really don't. We don't know what we're doing, do we? So tell me a little bit more about, so you got divorced, and then what did you decide on your life?
My father was the son of a farmer who came from a long line of farmers. So my father was the first person in his family to go to college.
Okay.
And he went to college and became a CPA, a very successful CPA. And he really believed in education. So he was stressing to me to get a skill or education. I got my secretarial degree first at a vocational school, and then I went to college. I have never finished college, but my pursuit was journalism. So he would help me to get into college at that time. And so that's what I did for a number of years. I did that, and I also worked part-time. And then my sister helped me babysit Heather.
And how?
So she's like Heather's second mom.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
So you see, so that you had that support with your sister. So
Maria, she's my best friend. I love her so much. She's really helped. She's like Heather's second mother.
That's so awesome.
They're very close.
So after you got divorced, I know you were still young. Did you think to yourself, I need to work on myself? I don't know. I mean, I feel like that was so young, like we're so young at that age. I don't know if we're thinking about our mental health or anything like that. Did you feel like you needed to work on yourself or anything like that so that the next marriage you had would work out better or anything like that?
Oh, no, I was partying.
I love it.
At that time, I was just, party city. It was terrible. I did a lot of stupid stuff. God redeems all that. But I was in college, I've always loved Heather, but I should have been more responsible. Thankfully, Maria was there. Yeah. I mean, you learn a lot of lessons doing all that. And I learned not to do all that.
Right.
And
exactly.
but the self-esteem, the confidence working on myself came much later in my 30s. So at that time, I did want to pursue journalism. I really love to write. I've been writing since I was a child, so I was going for journalism. I actually got a journalism scholarship one time and worked on the college newspaper, and then I worked for an actual newspaper reporting. And so that was my focus at that time on journalism. I wanted to be, at that time, a reporter. I don't want to do that now, but at that time, that was my goal.
Right. And so you're partying and having a good time and then focusing on that. And so did you start dating anybody? Did you meet anybody? Tell me a little bit more about that.
I was playing the field. I wasn't dating anyone in particular. I think I always was looking for that love, that unconditional love that we want from someone. Yeah. I did desire to get married. I also wanted Heather to have a father in her life, a stable father, because hers was not, her biological dad did not support her financially. He was absent from her life. Okay. I knew that was affecting her and that she needed a dad. And then I got an internship to a small town for my journalism and as an reporter, as an intern reporter. And while there, I met a man who became my second husband. And he's the one that I didn't know what he really was when I married him. He was basically a monster. So we got engaged pretty quickly. Yeah. He was very charming. He was a town bachelor. Everybody knew him. He was in a position of high authority. And I ended up marrying him pretty quickly.
Well, that's interesting that he was in a position of high authority and he was the town bachelor. Did he date a lot of people? And did anybody warn you that he was a monster ahead of time?
Everyone in town knew him. He was very well known and everybody seemed to love him. Everywhere he went, they would say hello and he would talk with them. He was very, very charming. Yeah. And a lot of the women there in the town had dated him, which was annoying because everywhere he went, he had slept with the woman. Yeah. And one of the women that he had been with, that he had actually dated quite a while, actually called me on the phone and warned me about him and but I didn't believe her. Okay. And that's because I didn't see any signs of temper or anything before we married. Only one time I saw him have a temper. Yeah. Otherwise, he was giving me roses, taking me out to the best restaurants. He was so charming. I mean, charm just oozed from him. Yeah. And, it was a facade because, probably that lady was the only one who warned me about him. And of course, my dad thought the engagement was way too quick and said something about that when he saw my engagement ring. He came to visit me one time and he thought it was too fast, but you don't listen at that young age. No. And you go in it, I didn't see the truth before I went into it.
Yeah.
Because he was so charming. He just snowed me with, affection and roses.
Well, that's what they do. That's what they do. And so one of the things I'm learning and want to give as a red flag for people is, yes, they're always very charming, but you want to see how they react if you tell them no, or if you put them into a situation that is kind of negative, like say a rude waitress or like you're running late for something, because then a lot of times you'll see their true colors. And if they do have a facade of being charming, sometimes they can't handle if you say no to them, those kinds of things. And the thing is, I totally understand that thing about the previous girlfriend calling you and warning you. But when you don't...
That was weird.
Well,
let's get real. Gaslighting isn't just a buzzword. It's that sick, spiraling feeling in your gut when they say, "That's not what I said. You always twist things," or "You're too sensitive. I was just joking." Yeah, I can totally relate. I spent 33 years with someone who made me feel like I was the problem every time, no matter what. That's why I wrote You're Not Crazy, Reclaiming Your Sanity and Self-Worth After Narcissistic Abuse. Because you deserve to trust your gut again. You deserve to trust you. And spoiler alert, you were never the problem. Gaslighting is the main tactic of a narcissist. This book won't fix your ex, but it will help you fix your peace. Just check out the link in the show notes to get your copy today. Don't wait to start your healing.
It doesn't work. And the reason is, did he ever tell you, "Oh, she's crazy"? You know what I mean? Did he tell you anything like that?
Yeah, that she was crazy.
Right. And that's what they often do. So that's another red flag is they say, if all their exes are crazy, I mean, like, think about that. And I know you didn't see it. And so, look, I would have been the same way if my ex's previous girlfriend would have said, there's something wrong. He treats you like this after a while or whatever. I don't know that I would have believed it because I didn't see it. I really didn't see it either.
And his ex-wife, he had been married before. I never met her or talked to her, but he was pretty private about that. And he had kids through her, 2 kids through her, and I never met them. I should have asked more questions, but you just think, oh, well, it didn't work out, just like mine didn't work out.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, that's definitely some other red flags, because I do want to warn people, right? We want to do what we've learned. We want to take what we've learned and help other people. So, yeah, I mean, that he's not talking to his children, that he wasn't communicating with his ex-wife, or you never talked to her, those kinds of things.
Well, he said she was crazy too.
Right. They're always all crazy. I mean,
that's who's crazy here?
Exactly. That's a warning sign because then if like the ex-girlfriend did call you, right? And by then you already have it in your mind. Oh, well, she's crazy. She's probably going to tell you that I'm a monster, or she's probably going to tell you this. And then when she does, it just proves the point of your boyfriend or whatever, oh my gosh. Anyway, so those are red flags. The biggest thing for me, how long did you guys date? How long did you guys date before you decided to get married?
I was trying to remember that. It was a very short period. And that was the other thing. He wanted me to marry him very fast.
Yes.
And it was probably within a 6-month period, maybe a year. I don't remember the exact time, but I do know it was under a year. I know that much. It was very fast. And the other thing, when I look back, I remember that he was very controlling, but I didn't see it then. For example, I have my daughter Heather in a daycare with someone when I came to intern at the newspaper. And he told me that I needed to move her to his friend's daycare. And so he was insistent on it. And then I was staying at an Airbnb, and he was insistent that I move from there to a townhouse. He was controlling aspects of my life that it shouldn't have been his decision, but I just went along with it at that time. So looking back, I see the control that started even when we dated.
Did it feel like he was just being caring? Are you trying to help make a better life? Yes. Right.
Yeah.
But looking back, you
Like the
couldn't manage
daycare
control.
lady, she's my friend and she's so good and she'll charge you less. And
Right.
but it was really people that he knew that he was trying to surround me with, people he knew that would say good things about him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And that's a thing is when you look back, you can see it because at first maybe you don't see it. And I really want to talk about, because for me, it was the same way. We dated under a year. And then from the time we got engaged to married was 4 months, really super fast. And that is one of the
Yes.
characteristics of abusers. And, even if we say narcissists or anything like that, is that they want to lock you down really fast. So if you are rushing, and this is the biggest thing for me, is do not rush. What are you rushing for? Like,
Right.
and a lot of times they'll tell you, I just want the whole world to know how much I love you. Great. Go post it on Facebook. That's how I feel, because
They isolate you from people. They want to control you. And
yes. Now, did you feel like, was he starting to do that with you? Isolate you?
yes, he was trying to get me to be friends with his friends.
Okay. Probably the ones that were okay with his behavior and things like that.
They thought he was great.
Right. And did you have any friends at the time, and did they see anything?
I didn't have friends there. It was a new town far away from my family, so I knew no one there.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you were the prime target. You didn't have anybody, so he could control your situation and get you around his friends. It's amazing how it's same story, different people, different actors in the same play. It's wild. And so that's why, as we're giving these warning signs, if you feel like some of these things resonate, you should be maybe having a discussion. But the biggest thing is don't rush. And I want to ask, when did you said you weren't seeing any kind of temper or anything like that, even though she had warned you. When did you start seeing anything? Was it after you were married?
I saw one time with his temper, pretty much one time at a restaurant, and he got mad at something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was just rage, basically. And a lady had witnessed it from another table, and I had gone outside. I was crying because of the way he was acting.
Oh, okay.
And she came up to me and said, I don't know you, but, you should not be with this man. And
Wow.
that was probably God warning me, but that was the only time I saw his temper.
Mhm.
It was after we married, probably a couple of months after he started showing his temper more and more. First with my Siamese cat, and then with me and my daughter, Heather. He began to get really angry very quickly. And I began, and Heather began to feel like we were walking on eggshells, just tense. And is he going to get mad that I didn't cook the chicken or the steak right?
Yeah.
Or, I didn't wash his underwear fast enough or whatever. He would just get mad at stuff.
Right. How do you feel like you were abandoning yourself along the way during this time? Walking on eggshells comes in lots of different forms. And maybe you were not cooking the foods you wanted because he only wanted certain things, or you weren't doing the activities you wanted to do. How were you abandoning yourself during this time?
Well, for me to cook anything is a miracle. I'm not a good cook, even though I'm from the South. I've learned to cook along the way because I had kids, but I would try to please him. And there wasn't pleasing him. I just felt that tension around him. And I began to notice that temper. And it was very concerning to me because of my daughter. And so I believe because of my childhood abuse, I didn't have the confidence in myself and value myself enough to know this is not good. This is not right. I should not be with this man.
Right.
Plus, there is the aspect of finances. I was in a new town. I was dependent on him financially. My ex-husband was not providing financially for our daughter, Heather. So I believe that's a huge issue for so many women. They will not leave an abusive or narcissist marriage because of money. I believe so many women are in that trap.
It's true. And I've had lots of people talking about that on the show. And we'll put some resources in the show notes as well, because I know I have friends who have been on the show talk about that they had to make plans. They squirreled away money so that they could have a plan to get out, because there's no way. Back in the back in the 50s, right? Like the man would always take care of the money and all this stuff, but we don't need to have a man like co-sign a loan for us anymore or get a credit card or open a bank account. None of those things. And so women are trying to make their own way because they often are in a financially abusive situation. Unfortunately, I think that is the biggest thing. I know I hear that from a lot of people. They're like, I can't leave because of the money. I can't leave.
It's
I know
so
I was
true.
It's so true. And I was able to, my husband and I, my ex-husband and I, we had money in the bank and all that. And we were able to divide it in half. But I do believe he hid money. I really do believe that. And there was no way for me to prove it. And I don't have the money to get a lawyer to make him prove it. Right. And so that's part of the financial abuse as well. And so sometimes you have to weigh, is it better to get out? But it sucks. Like, especially in many states, like that's half your money. And so for me, I was like, I'm done. I just can't even be with this person anymore. I don't want to be in this situation anymore. And so I'm out. But I do think about that sometimes, and it's not okay. Did you end up
even harder for single moms? I was one for almost 10 years. I mean, between that short marriage, it's the hardest job in the world.
It really is. And I love that you help women work on their self-esteem, right? And their self-worth, because when we know our self-worth and how valuable we are, then we'll make different choices. Because I know now there's women who are like, I can be single. I'm okay being single if the other choice is to be in a crappy marriage or a crappy relationship. So that's all I've been working on. I've been working on my self-worth for quite a few years, but the last 18 months after my divorce has been like full speed ahead, just like, what does God think of me? And what am I good at? And all those things, right? Because you spend so much time when you're in abuse of not feeling, and especially if you grew up that way, you grew up not feeling good about yourself. Even if nobody said the words, right? It's the way you were treated when you're abused.
It's familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. How long were you married, and did you guys have kids?
Are you feeling trapped in a relationship that leaves you questioning your worth and sanity? Have you noticed the red flags and decided you can't live one more day in a toxic environment? Whether you've just left or are considering leaving a narcissistic partner, the book, Married to a Nice Guy, Getting Over Narcissistic Abuse is here to guide and support you. In this candid memoir, I share my 33-year struggle in a marriage to a nice guy that was marked by emotional manipulation and abuse, revealing how I broke free and reclaimed my life. If you've been waiting for a sign, this book is it. If you've ever felt isolated, confused, or hopeless in your relationship, Married to a Nice Guy, Getting Over Narcissistic Abuse offers the understanding and guidance you need to break free and start your journey to healing. You are not alone, and you deserve a life filled with love, respect, and happiness. Order your copy today and take the first step towards reclaiming your life.
We did not have any children. He actually began to hit Heather, and he battered her. I was at the grocery store one day, and I came home, and she was barely, I believe she was probably dead or almost dead. He told me she fell down the stairs. He had put her back in her bed. As soon as I came through the door, he said, Beth, something is wrong with Heather. And he took me to her, and I freaked out because her eyes were rolled back in her head. She was not breathing.
Oh my God.
And I freaked out. I screamed. I freaked out. And he said, we got to take her to the hospital. And so I had her in my arms. We took her to the hospital. He went really fast to the hospital. And she had had a hematoma, which is bleeding in the brain. And on the way to the hospital, I lifted her up and I said, God, have mercy, because I believe she was dead or almost dead. And it was like a wind came in the car and went into her, and she took a breath. And she did have to have surgery at another hospital. They determined she needed to go to Athens Hospital. And so she had surgery. God miraculously healed her. I thought he had probably done something to her, that he had done this. He denied it. He said she fell down the stairs. The hospital staff did question him, and
Okay.
he denied it, said she fell down the stairs. Later, I found out through Heather, she doesn't remember all of it,
Okay.
but she did say he hit her, that it was him. That didn't end our marriage. I was at that time, but you don't want to think your own husband would do something like that. So I wanted to believe him, but in my mind, my heart, I was questioning it. And so we moved out to the Midwest after she recovered. He just said he wanted to get away from everything and everyone. Didn't really give a reason. So we packed up and moved to the Midwest, and I've been here ever since.
Wow. And then
And he eventually one morning I came into her room and she had a red mark on her face, and I confronted him and I said, "You hit her, didn't you?" And we got into an argument, and I decided me and Heather were just going to go in the car and just leave, go somewhere.
Right.
And he took my head and he bashed it against the closet while I was getting her shoes out. He slammed my head into the side of the wall. And he ended up leaving that day to go somewhere. And I called the police, and they asked me, "Why are you with this man?"
Right.
And of course, you ask yourself that over and over. Not all narcissists are abusers, but you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why didn't I leave? Why did I ever marry in the first place? But eventually he did move out. He left the state, and I've never seen him since. Thank God. God got me out of that. And Heather, thank God she's okay. It was a miracle. So I give God all the praise for that. But it was a nightmare marriage. It didn't last that very long, but it was a nightmare.
Well, I want to talk about when you said, when people, when the police said, "Why are you with him?" And look, I did 33 years, right? And even though he wasn't hitting me, there were so many things. I wanted to be dead by the end. I didn't want to be alive. And the thing is that the person you fell in love with wasn't that monster, right?
He had no idea.
Right. And that's the thing that people don't understand. The person that we fall in love with at the beginning is not the abuser. It's the person who's faking us out, who's mirroring us and being so charming and doing all the right things. That's who we're falling in love with. That's who's sucking us in. And then the abuse often begins after that. And so it's
that and the unfaithfulness, because he had an affair with the lady that had called me to warn me about him. And she called me. This is so weird. She called me on the phone and told me they were seeing each other. And I still don't get that, unless she was just trying to get us to break up and get back with him. But if she believed all these terrible things, why would she do that? But she called me up and said, "I've been seeing your husband." I didn't believe her, but she had actually recorded him on the phone talking to her. And I heard my name on the recording when he said, "I've got to go. Beth is here." So she had it was so weird. And then he also had kissed her, and he had kissed another woman that he used to date. When he and she went out, he was still friends with her. He kissed her at the bar after they had tequila shots. And I wasn't drinking. And I just watched this thinking, is this really happening?
Oh my
gosh. Am I crazy? Is he actually kissing her in front of me, his wife?
Oh my gosh. What was his reason? Like, did you say anything?
He said, "Oh, that's just, she's my friend. It's nothing." What?
Unless you are agreeing to that, that's a problem. And that's the biggest thing.
I would agree.
I talked to someone the other day who, it was the same thing. She was talking about how he would say, "What about if we did a threesome or whatever?" And she said that she was in so much abuse that she actually started questioning her morals and values and going, okay, well, if this would make him happy, right? You actually start to question yourself. And so you sitting there going, is this really happening? And unless you say something, right? Because unless you're agreeing to this, if it's not okay with you, I remember that. I mean, there was no kissing in front of me, but I was to the point where I was like, hello, I'm right here. Hello.
Being charming, seducing other women,
Yes. And it's so disgusting. They have their own need that they need filled. When you were talking about that other woman and how she called you, and then you said, unless she was trying to get back together with him, but why would she? That's interesting. And why you do this work. because that woman doesn't have the self-esteem that she needs, right? Because maybe she did want to get back together with him, even though he was abusive to her. Because maybe
I think she was in love with him, but she saw the abuse and she didn't want, but I think she was still in love with him.
Yeah. With the trauma bond, our brain is holding that space for this person abused me and I hate them. And then also at some point I love them. And our brain is holding that at the same exact time. And so that's so hard. And I totally get it. It took me a long time to get to that place where I was like, I still want to know what he's doing. I still want to know why why he's off with his new wife and those kinds of things. It's really hard. So I completely understand that other woman and her reaching out, even though she knew about the abuse. It's confusing. Did you ever say anything to him about kissing other women in front of you or in general?
Well, I just knew at the two. There was probably more. But, oh, no, there was another one that was a friend of his that he did right in front of me. I just couldn't believe it. It's so weird.
It is.
It's sick. To me, it's sick.
Did you say anything and he just said, oh, it's just a friend?
Yes, that's what he said for both of them. I was just in shock. I didn't know what to say. I was in shock.
It's amazing.
And it made me not trust him. I mean, who else is he kissing? What are they beyond kissing? What's going on?
Yeah. So when you guys got divorced and you've never seen him again, which is amazing. Tell me when you started, praise the Lord for that one.
Yes.
Tell me when you started doing the work on yourself and then helping other women.
That was the point when I began seeking counseling. After he left, I began having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me into a counselor. I thought I was dying. I didn't know what a panic attack was. I began to have nightmares and PTSD symptoms. And I saw a counselor, a Christian counselor. I started going once a week and I began to deal with all the pain and the trauma in my life. And it really helped me just to talk it out with a trusted person. Also had a pastor I would talk to, and I began my healing journey, and I got Heather in counseling also. And so we began to heal from our past. And then out of that, I began to have a heart and a compassion for women that had been through what I went through and wanting to help and minister to them.
That's amazing. And I want people to know that the panic attacks and the nightmares and all that is all very normal. That is all normal. It's sad, unfortunately, but it is all very normal. So if you are feeling that way, do talk to someone who is trained in trauma-informed therapy, things like that, talking to people that understand abuse. It's helpful, that's for sure. So,
and mine was compounded because of my childhood.
Yes.
So I had trauma on top of trauma, and I'd never dealt with it.
Right. And so do you feel like as you started talking about it, stuff started coming out that you had?
Oh, yes, a lot. Nightmares. I began to feel scared to leave my house. I had all kind of fears. I was terrified of everything. And my therapist really helped me with dealing with all that anxiety and depression. I had suicidal thoughts, but I knew I couldn't. I did attempt 2 suicide attempts, but I knew because of Heather, I needed to go on living, and I have a purpose. Right. And so I wanted to fulfill my purpose, but counseling really helped me over time. That helped me too. And journaling helped me.
Yes, I love journaling. That's one of my favorite things to do is journaling.
Yeah.
I felt like I prayed and journaled at the same time. It just felt good to get it all out. I know some people might not, maybe I've heard people saying like, I don't know what to write. I'm like, to me, it's almost like a prayer. And it's like, you get it out of your head. So it's not in there anymore. And so to me, I just love journaling, and I have tons of journals in my Amazon shop because I love journals. And so I always make journals. But so how did you get into, you said you started to get a heart for women, and how did you get into speaking about it and those kinds of things and writing all your books?
I've been writing since I was a child. Someone gave me a little journal with the lock and key on it. I think it was my parents or my grandparents. So I started journaling when I was a child, and I I love to write.
Yeah.
And so I decided that all I wanted to be when I was a child was a mom and a writer. That's all I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't want to be a bank president or real estate or anything like that, nurse, just a mom and a writer. And God made that dream come true. I'm a mom of 3 beautiful daughters, Heather, Eden, and Leah, and they are my heart.
I love
And
it.
then after that, God began to open the door. Somebody at my church asked me to speak at a ladies' tea, and I was terrified to speak. I would physically shake. I would feel like I was going to faint. I would sweat. I was so scared to publicly speak.
Yes.
But I did it that one time, and the pastor's wife there said, I think you have a gift here. And I was just so scared. And then after that, doors began to open. And even internationally, I've been able to go to other places like Africa, Haiti, Guatemala, different places to speak. And it's just God opening the door. And I love to speak now. I love sharing hope with other women.
That is so amazing. I mean, and I want people to understand that even if you're scared to do it, like my pastor's wife used to always say, this is my ex-pastor's wife, but she would always say, do it afraid. Just do it afraid.
Right.
And that's the thing. In our body, our brain, this is your neurological lesson for the day. Our brain doesn't know the difference between excitement and being frightened. So you have to tell it what you want. So you have to say, I'm so excited. Yes, I kind of feel scared. But I'm very excited. That's right. And if your story is so important, right? You had to get the word out. Your story is important because you're going to help others. And
right.
we can't let that nervousness stop us. We've been nervous for so many things in our life. It's okay. Once we're learning to do something new, it's okay, right?
Yes. Everywhere I've gone to speak, especially the other nations, I had fear. Like one of the places I was going to go to minister was Guatemala. And I was so scared. I had a friend that she moved there. She loved it. She fell in love with the land and the people. She invited me to come, but there's volcanoes over there. They're active.
Wow.
And earthquakes. And I was so scared to go over there, but I did actually go. And I got to pray for people and just different things. So we do it afraid. Just like you said, we do it afraid out of obedience to God, but just to give people hope and encourage others. And it opens up your world to so many things. Traveling just opens your world. In fact, my daughter Leah is about to go to Japan this Saturday for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And she's shy and quiet, but she's about to go. She loves the culture and she's been studying, and she's about to go Saturday. So say a prayer for her.
Yes.
And her friends, 3 of her friends are going, or 4 of her friends.
That's going to be
so we do it
exciting.
afraid.
Yeah, it's so true. And because if we waited to feel okay with things, we would probably never do anything.
No.
We would all just be in our home. And my therapist she says that often when we have that movement towards something, sometimes we just have to do it. And then the motivation or the energy for it comes. But sometimes we have to just push ourselves. Nike's always telling us to just do it. and we kind of have to.
That slogan.
So that's so amazing. Where can people find you if they're looking for you?
At my website and blog, it's at bethjones.net. And then my books are at my Amazon author page, which is amazon.com/author/Beth M. Jones.
That's amazing. And
I'm also on Facebook.
Well, we're going to have all that information in the show notes so everybody can find you and get a hold of you. And oh, Beth, thank you so much for sharing your story today. I'm just so thankful that you took your pain and you turned it into purpose to help other women. We just need so many people like you. You could have stayed down, but you didn't, got back up. And thank you so much for helping us and seeing that Cinderella story from a different angle. I just love that. It's so true. She just wanted to go dance, but instead she got to marry him. It's such a big dream, right? Bigger than we can even imagine. So I really appreciate that.
Keep dreaming. Keep going for it.
That's right. And guys, if anything resonated with you today, will you please reach out to Beth and also on social media, and please leave us an Apple or Spotify review. Beth, again, I just really appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining me today on the That's Where I'm At podcast. Did the story today resonate with you? Do you think others would benefit from hearing the stories we are telling? Please go to Apple or Spotify right now to leave a review so everyone in podcast land will know you love the show. We want to continue sharing stories of hope and healing. I'll be back next time. I'll talk to you then.